How's it going, everybody? Funny intro here. I think it's about time that I talk about the entire situation revolving around the Unity engine and just how much it absolutely fucking sucks. So for those of you who have no idea what in the world I'm talking about, well, first of all, Unity is pretty much like one of, if not like the most well-known game engine that currently exists, I guarantee you. If you like played a good amount of video games, chances are at least a good majority of those were, you know, made in the Unity engine, especially if you played a lot of indie games. And, well, Unity isn't exactly known for having the best practices, especially in the past. After all, they partnered with, like, actual fucking malware, if I remember correctly. And, of course, as of recently, they come up with a brand new, like, you know, price increase plan that is just genuinely fucking terrible in every single sense of the word. So, like, to explain what their new plan is, they're quite literally going to try and actually unironically charge developers for, like, you know, installations of games made on the Unity engine, which basically hits like a lot of games that currently exist. Like even Video Cult with Rain World, like they're even thinking about, like, you know, delisting Rain World off of the Steam storefront if this plan actually, you know, is fully carried out, which, you know, it hasn't been carried out yet. From what I've read, it's not going to be carried out until like the beginning of next year, so there's at least a good amount of time for, you know, enough backlash to hit these dense, dumb motherfuckers over at Unity, for them to realize, hey, this is actually a terrible idea, and we're probably going to end up losing a lot more money if we decide to carry on with this stupid fucking plan. But, well, I mean, we already know who runs Unity. Apparently, you know, main figurehead over at Unity is more concerned about monetization, you know, when it comes to video games, and, of course, apparently game engines at this point, so, you know, it's highly unlikely that the plan is going to actually change, but hey, on the slim chance that it does, then that'll at least be good news for a lot of game developers. And apparently they recently released like some sort of, you know, attempt of clarification, but well, it went over about as well as you would expect because it pretty much completely missed the mark. But today we're mainly going to be taking a look at this specific article that is titled, Unity Rushes to Clarify Price Increase Plan as Game Developers Fume. Well, I mean, let's put it this way, it's not just game developers that are fuming, but it's also just generally just like who actually give a shit about video games that are just genuinely angry at this fucking plan, because ultimately it's just going to end up hitting a lot of games extremely hard, like a lot of really popular games extremely hard. And a lot of them are probably going to have to attempt to try and transfer a lot of their games to like a different engine, if, you know, that is possible. So without further ado, let us sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's get into reading, shall we? Haven't done this in a while, huh? Unity, the tech company behind one of the most popular engines for creating video games, is scrambling to clarify how a price increase for its services will work after its announcement Tuesday morning broadly infuriated the game development community. So, I mean, once again, it didn't exactly only, you know, infuriate the game development community, it just infuriated the gaming community in general, at least those who actually give a shit about the developers and whatnot. Like, overall, just people all over the place are just genuinely fucking pissed off at Unity and sick of Unity shit at this point. Like, this entire decision is already not going over very well, so, yeah. Why it matters. The fees, which Unity said are essential for funding development of its tech, left many game makers wondering if having a hit game through Unity would cost them more money than they could make. Developers spoke throughout the day of delaying their games to switch to rival Epic Games' Unreal Engine or other services on Twitter. I'm not going to say the new name of Twitter because fuck Elon Musk. But by the evening, Unity exec Mark Whitten was updating Axios on the policies, potentially diffusing some concerns raised by game creators. And, well, what do you know? It didn't exactly diffuse anything. All it did was just make a lot of people very angry, and some others just extremely confused as to what the actual point of it really is. And also, when it comes to, like, trying to, you know, essential for funding development of its fucking tech, like, Jesus Christ, this reminded me of, like, that one fucking, like, you know, This Week in Bungie from a couple months ago, I think, where, like, Bungie unironically stated that, like, making games is just way too hard for them and they need more money, and they're still acting like they're in the same dire financial straits that they were in when they broke off from Activision. Like, it's just ringing the same exact bells as that, which I'm honestly disappointed in myself that I didn't bother to cover that, because honestly, any opportunity to dunk on just how shitty Bungie has become is honestly a good day for me. But hey, I missed out on that opportunity. Who knows? Maybe the next flaccid announcement from Bungie will be my next calling card. but, you know, here's hoping. But yeah, this is honestly just reminding me of this shit, where it's just kind of like, you know, we're just going to, you know, introduce more things in order to, fund our shit even more, despite the fact that we're quite literally the most popular game engine, and we've probably gotten more money than we even know what to do with. Like, it honestly just makes people, including myself, wonder what in the fuck are they using their money on, to the point where they have to actually, like, introduce this kind of monetization. Like, what the fuck are they doing with their money? Are they unironically using it as toilet paper and flushing it down the shitter? Like, what are they actually doing? Anyways, the article continues here. Details: a new runtime fee announced Tuesday morning is tied to a player's installations of a game, an action that previously didn't cost developers anything, which it genuinely shouldn't have, but of course, well, greed runs deep, I suppose. With Unity's new plan, developers who use Unity's free tier development services would owe Unity 20 cents per installation once their game hit thresholds of 200,000 downloads and earned $200,000 in revenue. Yeah, that's definitely going to add up quick. Like, 20 cents is definitely going to add up quick, especially if a game ends up getting popular enough to pretty much hit 200,000 downloads and net $200,000 in revenue. Like, if it's already hitting that many downloads, then there's likely going to be even more downloads in the future, and ultimately the price is just going to keep on going up and up and up, and it's just not going to get any worse. But of course, in the next section, it does in fact mention that those who actually paid for the pro plan for Unity are going to pay, you know, less per installation. But it still doesn't change the fact that, you know, developers shouldn't be charged at all for installations of their games, regardless of if it's, like, you know, based on a threshold basis or anything along those lines. They just genuinely shouldn't be charged for, like, getting installations and downloads of games made on the Unity engine. Like, it's just a stupid fucking idea. It doesn't matter, you know, how many times they say, oh, well, you have to hit this specific threshold, or it's only going to be this amount of money. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't be charged in the fucking first place. Yes, but game developers rallying on Twitter began fuming immediately that any game enjoying a spike in installations due to a big sale, inclusion in a charity bundle, or even just by being included in a popular subscription service like Microsoft's Game Pass would trigger back-breaking Unity fees. Stop it, development studio Inner Sloth, makers of the hit game Among Us, tweeted Tuesday evening. This would harm not only us but fellow game studios of all budgets and sizes. I mean, you know it's a bad decision when even the developers of fucking Among Us are coming out and stating, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you, Unity? You shouldn't do this in the first place. Another studio, Aggro Crab, called on Unity to reverse its plans, saying that it feared that its next game, set for release to the 25 million subscribers on Game Pass, could incur fees that threaten the stability of our business. The intrigue. Unity has scrambled to clarify and, in one key case, alter what it has said about its policies around the fees. After initially telling Axios earlier Tuesday that a player installing a game, deleting it, and installing it again would result in multiple fees, Unity's Witten told Axios that the company would actually only charge for an initial installation. A spokesperson told Axios that Unity had regrouped to discuss the issue. He hoped that this would allay fears of install bombing, where angry user could keep deleting and reinstalling a game to rack up fees to punish a developer, but an extra fee would be charged if a user installs a game on a second device, say a Steam Deck, after installing a game on PC, which is extremely fucking scummy. Like, that's not good at all. Like, that basically means that, like, you know, if you decide to get, like, a new computer, or, like, a new system or something along those lines, and you decide to install a game onto that new system that you had on the old system, then that would automatically tally up another new installation, which would, again, charge the developer of that game extra for something that they, first of all, shouldn't even be charged for in the first place, but were already charged for, you know, just from, like, the initial installation on the previous, hardware. Like, that's just, honestly, that would ultimately lead to, like, people using, like, virtual machines and shit like that, and just kind of doing that install bombing shit, but this time using, like, virtual machines and shit like that. Like, ultimately, it would just, it wouldn't stop install bombing, it would just result in people who are doing the install bombing to get more creative when it comes to it, and ultimately it's just not going to stop anything, and people are going to be fucked either way. Runtime fees will also not be charged for installations of game demos, Witten said, unless the demo is part of a download that includes the full game. Early access games will be charged for an installation, he noted, which is pretty fucked up, just in general. I mean, again, they shouldn't be charged in the first place, but the amount of, like, early access games that are on Steam that are available to to download and purchase and play and install on Steam and whatnot. Like, the first game that comes to mind is, like, Ultra Kill and whatnot. Like, games like that, you know, that are extremely popular and are in early access are just... Those kinds of games are obviously going to be fucked beyond belief. I can already see it. Games offered for charity or included in charities will be exempt from the fees. Unity will provide a way for developers to inform Unity that their games are being offered that way, Witten said. As for Game Pass and other subscription services, Witten said that developers like AgroCrab would not be on the hook, as the fees are charged to distributors, which in the Game Pass example would be Microsoft, which would ultimately lead to now Microsoft getting involved, and I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft, now hearing about something like this, would ultimately turn around and, like, sue Unity. Like, if that is a thing that they would ultimately, you know, do, then I would genuinely be all for it. Like, honestly, Microsoft would fucking crush Unity, and that would be a funny event to witness. Witten estimates that only about 10% of Unity's developers will wind up having to pay any fees, given the thresholds games need to hit, which is not only just like a gross underestimation of things, but from what I have looked up, it is just outright completely blatantly fucking false. There's going to be more than 10%. I can guarantee you, at the very least, maybe about 40% of Unity's, you know, big time, like, you know, development teams using Unity are going to be completely fucked by this decision. But honestly, this is just genuinely fucking terrible. So, like, yeah, again, apparently Unity, you know, supposedly tried to clarify shit, but of course, as we have read here, they didn't do a very good job on it, and honestly, it just leads to a whole bunch of other fucking questions that, well, I guarantee you, Unity probably won't even fucking think about. But anyways, guys, what did we learn today? Well, we have learned that Unity just genuinely fucking sucks, apparently. Nothing new there. But yeah, anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. That's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next. And also go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I don't have a clever joke for this one. But yeah, anyways, guys, it's been Sadie, and have yourselves a nice day.